Hello, I am Jayanto Chatterjee from IIT Kanpur. We are continuing with our sessions on B2B, business to business marketing, industrial marketing with technology focus. Our current sessions deal with market orientation and cross functional marketing R&D interaction. We have in the previous session discussed in detail about market orientation, and we are now focusing on the cross functional, particularly marketing and R&D interaction. This is where we were at the end of the previous session, where we looked at the kind of information need and knowledge transfer needed by the pioneers, and then we were discussing about those same needs for the fast followers. So, fast followers, as we know, focus on the pragmatists as opposed to innovators and early adopters. So, they bring out improved or less expensive versions of products that originally introduced by the prospectors or the pioneers. So, they simultaneously defend a core market as well as they explore growth in new markets. So, their information focus closely monitor customers' reactions to pioneers or prospectors' offerings, and they at the same time monitor competitors' activities, successes and failures. So, they limit new product introduction to categories that have shown promise. So, they are not as bold risk takers as the prospectors or the pioneers, they are far more cautious. And then we have other two types of strategy archetypes that we have discussed in a previous session. So, the third archetype is the people who focus on operational excellence. They are the low cost defenders. So, as opposed to the prospectors and fast followers, these low cost defenders, gaining their strength from operational excellence, provide quality products or services at the lowest overall cost. That gives them lot of strategic pricing maneuverability. Generally, their products may be less technologically sophisticated, but their competition benchmarking will be as prominent as in the case of the previous two types, and so they continue to benchmark against price, cost and performance of the competitors. So, they try to focus, actually they are price warriors usually, and they are able to do that because they have operational excellence, which allows them to have the lowest cost in the industry. So, they focus on the other types, which are they are also defenders, but they are differentiated defenders as opposed to the low cost defenders. This is the fourth strategy archetype, as we have discussed before. They focus on customers' value for individual niche segments. Their information focus therefore is on skilled segmentation to identify customer segments that value superior quality as well as service. So, they are trying to defend, but in a differentiated fashion by virtue of their superiority in product and service. They closely monitor customer satisfaction and identify opportunities to increase share of the customer wallet, and they analyze the reasons for customers' defections. They analyze the reasons for defections of their own customers as well as competitors' customers, and that is how they actually derive their competitive strategy. So, these are the 4 types strategy archetypes and their information needs, the sharing needs. Now, in all of these, marketing has a crucial role to play, because as we have discussed before, marketing is a boundary spanning activity, and boundary spanning means they are at the boundary of the organization and the market. They are at the boundary of organization's contact with the competition, and they are also at the boundary of all the other departments, because the marketing in this kind of market oriented organization which we are discussing, the kind of organizations which have very good interaction and integration among all the different departments, particularly marketing and R&D. So, marketing here is at the boundary with all the other departments. So, they have lot of communication with other departments as well as with external stakeholders. So, all the 4 strategy archetypes that we just now discussed depend on marketing to make the information flow happen in their desired fashion. So, in the technology focused marketing organization, greater interfunctional coordination are noted, because that makes radical innovation happen, that make fast following happen, that makes low cost defending happen, that makes differentiated defending happen. So, in all of the situations, we need the marketing to play a key role as a kind of information flow manager, and because that creates faster product development, lower cost product development, and it appears as a key role in at every stage of the marketing process. So, this block diagram in front of you represents the teamwork in product development, the role of information and knowledge flow, and the players in this that make this teamwork happen. So, we are basically looking at information integration, quality orientation that leads to product quality, team identity, customer influence, all of that relates to the product innovativeness. At the same time, the product innovativeness relates to product quality, and ultimately the product innovativeness means there is an encouragement for risk taking and monitoring by senior management. But remember what we are actually again and again emphasizing, in these interactions and integrations to happen, the marketing has a key role to play. We will just now see again some other roles or associated roles played by marketing, like for example, team interaction among the different parts of the organizational departments. We obviously need communication, team orientation, and appropriate reward system, just now we discussed, all that to be there to make these things to happen. So, for example, for good communication, the team must simultaneously cooperate as well as compete, because in many organizations, particularly technology focused organizations, often 2 or 3 different types of product developments will be internally encouraged to compete for resources with each other, and so that the best will win. So, there will be therefore, flow of communication is extremely important here, so that silos do not appear, barriers do not appear. So, that this simultaneous cooperation as well as competition internally can happen, because we are trying to harness diverse opportunities and diverse functional perspectives, and that means that we have to engage in constructive conflict resolution. Again, in all of these we expect the marketing department to play a leading role. The team orientation of course needs leaders with clear set of values. We need confidence in each other, we need trust among the different team members, and of course, we need the reward system which should promote teams and organizations and not always the individual. Of course, there will be some situation like for example, the field marketing people, the field sales people, there the individual contribution is very clear, and there we may have some reward systems which are individual based, but in the engineering department, in the R&D department, in the technology and marketing liaison role, what we call the internal marketing functions, we may actually focus on group reward systems. So, these two types of reward systems, one in which individual contribution is rewarded like in field sales or field marketing, and in all the other cases we have the group or position based reward system, because there we focus on long complex projects where outcome based rewards are more appropriate. So, what we are trying to say is that not only we need the top management encouragement, the marketing department to work as a shepherd of communication and the flow to be maintained among all the different departments, it must be complemented by the proper managerial reward system, because they should not work at cross purposes. This cross functional marketing and R&D collaboration very critical for high tech firms. In fact, for all technology focused, technology enhanced activities, we need this, because the technology focused companies are very dependent on new product flows. So, the innovation and new product flows depend on this cross functional integration, and that is why we are in our we are devoting these 2 sessions to this particular discussion. The need for R&D marketing integration in fact is greater when innovations are complex and the environment situation is uncertain, and the organization has a continuing focus on the so called fuzzy front end, or that what we call the pioneering stage of the product life cycle, early stage of the product life cycle, which is sometimes called the fuzzy front end, because situations are very fluid in this kind of industry at that kind of product development stage. And there again the marketing and their close communication with the R&D and technology departments play a very crucial part, because we have to at every stage take care that no rivalry develops between R&D and marketing, because that is quite possible to happen, as we will just now see, because the expertise in R&D and expertise in marketing both are very valuable, but they are a little different, they are related, but different in nature, and that may actually sometimes create interdepartmental rivalry, and we have to in this kind of organization take good care that that does not happen, because that will reduce the information flow, knowledge sharing, and that will contribute to failure. Because the most important part is that the marketing department brings the voice of the customer into the development process. In today's organizations, particularly technology focused organizations, marketing departments are not away from the product development, they are actually an integral part of the product development team. They are all the time bringing in to the development process the customer voice, and they are liking, they are disliking, and prototypes are tested, minimum viable products are tested, and the feedbacks are brought in, so that the final product can be developed. So, R&D is always focusing on what is technically feasible, and marketing is always focusing on what really makes sense for the customer, what brings value to the customer's problem solving process, and therefore, both must closely work together. In fact, in technology focused organization, both are customer facing functions, not product development is an internal function and marketing is an external function. They work hand in hand, they are together in front of the customer, they are together back inside the organization. So, R&D and marketing interactions are to be matched, the barriers are to be understood and resolved, and high tech culture that values engineering more than marketing is sometimes detrimental. So, we have to understand the backgrounds and orientation between these two departments, and often actually we have to encourage co-optation, faster cooperation, foster cooperation and communication flow. And we will just now see what are the differences and how do we manage different situations and different, sometimes R&D will take lead, sometimes marketing will take lead. So, for breakthrough products, marketing and R&D interaction will assess market opportunities, determine what the industry market segment the company should engage in. They will look at market development priorities, they will assess the product feature set to start with and in the final form. Generally, in this process the R&D will take lead, whereas for incremental innovation the focus will be on commercialization, on finishing the minimum viable product to its final form. Here R&D will be assisting marketing strategies, marketing materials, collaterals, but the lead will be played by marketing. So, what we are saying is that this is a constantly changing role as the product life cycle goes on. At some stage R&D is leading, subsequently marketing is leading, and these roles keep on playing. So, just like in a fluid and flexible football team, people go up and down the field all the time and roles are interchanged, often even to confuse the competitors, this is something, this kind of agility, this kind of flexible changing of positions are possible and must be practiced, because we should not allow these different orientations between R&D and marketing personnel to harden. We have to retain the flexibility so that they can change their roles, because as such by the very nature of their jobs, their time orientations are different, because R&D focuses more on the long term, marketing wants immediate results as well as long term results. So, the projects preferred by R&D are the breakthrough type of projects, whereas marketing likes incremental projects. The ambiguity tolerance in case of marketing will be high, because they are dealing more with the external world normally. But what we are trying to say is that these traditional difference in orientation between R&D and marketing personnel, we may not actually totally accept or allow to harden in good well integrated organizations where marketing and R&D are constantly interacting, and that we achieve by interchanging their roles, transferring people from one activity to the other activity. So, that these are the we call these informal techniques as co-optation. That means, one type of person will be co-opted in the other kind of function. So, marketing people will be co-opted by R&D, R&D people will be co-opted by marketing. That happens more often than the other thing. The R&D people, they go out in the field and work with marketing side by side in front of the customer. But ideally we would like both way flow possible, so that the cooperation is really feasible and really takes place, communication flows freely, and the conflict is always constructive conflict. So, that is what we were meaning by co-optation, building of informal networks, and product knowledge credibility will be shared on both sides, formation of strategic coalitions, and even marketing may be working on minor improvements of the products even outside R&D. So, cooperation will be enhanced by physical co-location. In many high tech organizations, technology focused organizations, it is always desired that the marketing and R&D and product development teams are co-located. So, that there are more what we call around the water cooler. That means, there are more informal interactions and more exchange of tacit knowledge through social interaction, because there is a famous model called the Seki model, where we look at this knowledge flow as socialization, externalization, SE, internalization and integration. So, this process is often helped, this knowledge flow process, knowledge management process often is helped by co-locating the teams together, and that obviously makes the communication free flowing, that actually and discourages knowledge hoarding, information hoarding, and that actually makes the expectations about interdepartmental communication free flowing. In fact, it has been found that in this type of integrated organizations, the marketing personnel identify more with the whole organization and the total perspectives rather than with the departmental parochial interests. This is a very interesting observation that has been made by many researchers, and in organizations like Intel or organizations like AMD or organizations even like Microsoft, we really see this free flow between marketing and R&D and product development really happen, and we see marketing people who are connectors as opposed to parochial landlords. So, finally, we are talking about developing integrated goals. That means, the organization goals take precedence over departmental goals, and even if marketing managers identify strongly with the marketing department, they communicate more with when integrated goals are stressed. So, this is the two true boundary spanning function that is performed by the marketing department. So, that brings us to the conclusion of our session on market orientation and marketing and R&D, marketing and technical, marketing and product development, functional integration for the growth of technology focused, technology dominant organizations. Thank you.